Hello everyone here. I'm Yi-Ling Lin, your lecturer today. This significant course named as Chinese Cuisine, Franchise Cooperation and Entrepreneurship has established by the International Cooperation and Development Fund, the short form as ICDF. First of all, welcome to join my online class in Taiwan. We are going to focus on the topic of purchasing for food and beverage industry in Taiwan. The learning objective of this topic will have following 3 points. The first one, develop procedures for the effective purchasing, receiving, storing, and issuing of food and beverage items used into the Taiwan food and beverage industry operation. And the second, this course will introduce you a few of Taiwan food cultures and compare the variety raw material differences with Western side food. And the third is illustrate importances and use of purchasing specifications, standardized recipe, and portion control, implementing a system of cost control. It is very important of this class. Finally, this purchasing for food and beverage industry in Taiwan topic was separated into 7 parts, and each part was lasting for 50 minutes. Hope you enjoy all of the class. Before today's class starts, I would like to ask the questions. How do you usually cook for your family at home? Well, nowadays, I believe there's no one could cook at home for 3 times a day, 7 days a week. But you do have experience to prepare dinner or lunch for family, once or twice a week, or a month, or a year, maybe. I don't know. What will you do? Anyway, before you giving me the answer of it, let's look at the delicious food on your right-hand side photo. Do you know what are them and what is it? It's named 润饼 in Mandarin, 润饼 or 薄饼 in Taiwanese. It is the traditional Taiwanese food. It usually takes on Chim's wrapping days at the early of April. Certainly, you can eat them in your daily life, not only these proper days. It uses the white bobia skin to wrap all of ingredients inside it. The main ingredients such as strained carrots, bean sprout, striped cabbage, dry bean curds, and coriander, and other vegetables. The most important is to spray crushed peanut sugar powders on the top of it. It's so yum, and wrap all of ingredients into it. That is 润饼. Of course, different family has their own favorite ingredients of it, so you could also wrap whatever you like. It's the first tip of Taiwanese food for you. Okay, back to our own topic today. If you cook for your family, how would you do? There's few steps. In general speaking, people would choose what kind of dish they would like to cook. So, menu will be write down first. Then, we will write the raw materials on the shopping list, and then decide which market we should go, the traditional supermarkets, food court, or even more. And we need to choose the fresh meat, fish, or vegetable from the market. And we need to see, are they in correct size, correct brand, or the brand. And to ensure all of qualities are good. And the next step, we gather all of the raw material back home. Then we need to decide which good place to storage them. Maybe freezer, refrigerator, or dry storage. And then cooking time starts. The fifth step, we wash all of the raw materials and prepare them to cut them in the correct size or shape, or even soak inside the soy sauce or salt as well. That is pre-prepared. And the sixth is cook them well from raw to the cooked, and also decorate them into the plate. Of course. Finally step, we can enjoy our delicious food. After eating food, some of the waste will left and the dirty plate will go to the washing sink again. And this is the food circles, and that is the step of the food floors of it. This picture shows normal dinner tables of any family in Taiwan. The numbers of dishes depends on how many members in the family. For example, for peoples, we usually have 5 dishes with soup and rice, of course. On these pictures, there are 7 dishes with soup. So guess what? How many members for this family? I think it might have 4, 5, or 6, because there's 2 or 3 very little dishes. It's not just for one. So probably 4 people can finish it, or 5. Yeah. And then while you look at these pictures, where should we go buy the raw material for it? First, there's 3 vegetable dishes, and we need to go to the vegetable shop for it and get good qualities and fresh. And secondly, you will see a fish, and there's some squirrel fried with the veg, so we need to find out the seafood bush. And then we need to looking for some Chinese medicine or seasoning for the soup, and that is 2 red dishes on there. So I think that is where they're from. Of course, family, we need to go to the rice shop to buy the rice to accompany with all of the delicious dishes together. Alright, bon appetit. How the Swiss dishes at home on your right hand side pictures. And on your left hand side pictures, you will see very luxury dishes at the restaurants. In Taiwan, most of the restaurants, they can set 10 people in the tables. As you can see, there's a lazy Susan in the center of the tables, which can turning around for 10 people, and each dishes you will share with the 10 people. That's how our Taiwanese restaurants look like. And you will see 4 of the food were put on the top of the lazy Susan, and there are more than 10 dishes. So yeah, it probably got 10 dishes portions on the restaurants. So can you tell me what's the difference for purchasing food between home and restaurants? Alright, first, quality and quantity. At homes, you can choose very good qualities from the retailer or small shop, but you cannot buy as much as quantities as the restaurants. And the qualities has been very different from the restaurant and the home because they have different numbers of the customers. At home, you only have 4 or 3 people, and even 5 or 6. That is the maximum, I think. But in the restaurants, they even got 10 tables. Is more than hundreds of customers to eat together. So the quality should have difference, especially from different suppliers as well. And then the price. Yes, at home, I mean the householder, you only can buy your food, your raw materials from the retailer and also small shop or supermarkets, so the price won't be too low. But for the restaurants, you got huge materials and raw materials and food to purchase. That's why you can get the better price. But for running a business, you need to count your cost and earn the profit. Of course, you need to get some budget as well. But for the families, you only look at the budget. You didn't run the business, so you didn't count the profit, or you need to see the cost as well. So that is quite differences. And then inside the family, you only see the cleanliness for your food and how you storage your food. But for the restaurants, you need to decide your hygiene policies and safety policies to make sure all of your laborers and staff would obey it. Otherwise, that is quite dangerous to have the accidents or food poisoning. If any small, tiny losing. And you may close your restaurants just by one person's fault. And the last one will be the food circles. Yeah, it's very similar between home and restaurant, but it still have a little bit tiny difference. Let's see what is the Following our discussion of food cycles, the food cycles equals flows of food as the subtitles on this page. There are 8 steps of cooking for family from decide menu to ingest the meals and what's left. On the other hand, purchasing for the restaurants are also have 8 steps of them. It looks very similar, but it still have little tiny differences. But the big difference were on the first 4 steps. Let me tell you about it. It begins with the first step of the ordering and also the purchasing. The head chef will ordering the food, and the purchasing department will ask the suppliers to deliver their food to the restaurants. And second step, the receiving department would go to receive the raw materials. While these times they should care about the correct quality, quantity, brand, and extras. We will discuss that on the last of the lessons. And the third, after gather all of the raw material from suppliers, that the correct place to storage are very important as refrigerator, frozen, and dry storage. And have you ever seen the working big, huge refrigerator in restaurants? We may show you later on the following lesson. And the fourth, that is the step of issuing, and we were issuing the raw materials to different kitchens and outlets. And by this time, you need to be very careful about the safety. Storage is very important for the cost control, and also we need to take care of the staff. Are they go to store them, or something might be missing or out of order, and it's quite important as well. That may cause the restaurant loss. The final part from the fifth to the eighth step are all the same with the cooking from families. Only the objective are different. For the families, the object, of course, are family members. But restaurants, the object will be the customers. So from the preparing to the washing and wetting left, this is called service cycle as well. And finally, you will see on this flow, compare with this two flow chart. The purchasing steps in progressing is on the 1, 2, 3, 4, the first part of this chart. So that is quite important for all of this course. Therefore, purchasing, receiving, storing, issuing will be main contact of purchasing for food and beverage industry in Taiwan this course. Our following class will focus and separate to discuss about 4 of these steps. Hope you will enjoy the class today, and we will to be continue later. Hello everyone here. Welcome back to Yi-Ling Lin's online class. Shall we continue the second part of this lesson as purchasing for food and beverage industry in Taiwan? The introduction chapter. From the first part of introduction chapter, we already built up the basic purchasing concept, the flowchart of food, and also we comparison with cook for family and purchasing for restaurants. As you see the flowchart, the first 4 steps are ordering, receiving, storage, issuing. They are the purchasing step in progressing. And the rest of the 4 steps, they are preparing, cooking, servicing, washing, and wet. That is for the servicing progressing. And at this 2 will be the flows of food. Right, have you ever come to Taiwan before? No matter you have experience in Taiwan or not, due to the coronavirus, that we should meet each other online by this way. On this page, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 till 21 restaurants logos. Do you recognize all of them? And how many of them do you familiar with? Of course, you may see all of them in Taiwan everywhere on the roads or by the street. Of course, I believe you could recognize those 4. There are international franchise chains as McDonald's, Starbucks, KFC, and Pizza Hut. It's all from America. Their main products are burgers, French fries, pizzas, and coffee. And secondly, you might recognize this one is MOS Burgers is the first fast food franchise chains from Japan, and probably this sweet Mr. Donuts as well. Because of Taiwan's has very close distance with Japan and share same histories for 50 years and have very similar food cultures. That's why a lot of Japanese brands is on Taiwan's road. I think probably most of the Asia's countries got them as well. Probably your own country has them. For example, there's 4 Iranchi ramen, Ipotong ramen, Isunoya, Gudong, beef rice, and Saboden, the deep fried pork rice. And the other, there's one of the hot pot brands is getting bigger and bigger. It's quite international now. It's called Haidilao hot pot, named Hyde. Okay, rest of them, they are Taiwanese franchise. Some of them are independent restaurant, and some of them are franchise. Even three of them, they has the shareholders on the market as well. Okay, first of all, I will introduce you this one. It's Din Tai Fung 小笼包, which is every tourist to come to Taiwan will point out that is the hot spot should visit, and they are quite enjoy with their steamed soup dumpling, and also others are also delicious. I hope you have a chance to come to Taiwan in very near futures to test it and share the result with me. And then there's 3 of them is on the shareholder. One is Wang Pin, Wang Steak, and the Cheng Thai Cuisine restaurant, and also the 85 degrees daily cafe. And they all have their shareholder markets on the shareholders on the market. And then I would like to share the other information is from the Taichung city, where you might come here for studying with us. And a lot of restaurants original first shop is from Taichung city, such as Dingwang Hot Pot, Qingjingze Hot Pot, and also this one is Wuma, that is barbecue restaurant. By the way, Wang Pin, Wang Steak is from original shop is from Taichung as well. And then there's 2 independent restaurants I would like to introduce you. One is Ya Pian Guan, which sells the main products is the Peking duck. The other one is Kuan Xin Yuan, that is independent restaurant for vegetarians. Overall, Taiwan is multicultural country, and especially in Taichung, there are variety restaurants on the road everywhere. Hope you can come soon and enjoy with all of delicious food. Since we have seen lots of restaurant logos and brandings in Taiwan, I hope you already built up a framework about Taiwanese food and beverage industry. And on this page, this is a bar chart from the government website open information announcements, and the sources come from the Department of Statistics from Economic Bureau. And this statistic is till is from the year 2011 till 2018. And that it shows the revenues, which is the green bar. And this bar chart shows the revenue is going up, and steady to increase. But on the other hand, the annual growth rate in food and beverage industry in Taiwan, and in the 2011, that will be the highest 8.4, but it's going down to the 2013. The rate is 1.6%. And then 2018 is increasing to 4.7. It's kind of like half till the 2011. So which means the revenue is increasing, but the growth rate is not as high as before. But last year's 2019 is kind of like a good years, and is kind of increasing a little bit, and the annual growth rate is not bad, is working not bad as well. So that is till now. Shall we look at for the next? Comparing with last page, you can see from here, the line is speed down. Unbelievable. The business running is not even above the zero. It's minus 23%. Well, this happens in this year, 2020, after coronavirus. In Taiwan's 5 cities restaurants during Chinese New Year's before and afters, until the tomb sweeping days in the early of April, and comparing the same week with last year's. All of the statistic is from the iChef, the food and beverage industry softwares, and they produce the softwares for the stock and also business runnings. Therefore, they got the data and statistics to show the rate. Anyway, and this data is get till the 2020 April 16th. Alright, and I shall also point out 3 points. That is the fact. The fake one is the high price restaurants has double declines for the middle price restaurants. The high price restaurants ranges between 200 to 600 Taiwanese dollars for their average product rate, and the middle price is above around the 200 Taiwanese dollars. So the middle range of middle price of restaurants, they are not have big influence with the coronavirus, but the high price restaurants, they are huge influence and very seriously, and even some of them get shut down, or they just close their restaurants for a few weeks or even months. And fact 2, business run for the breakfast and dinner. The dinner times, they are empty restaurants. No customers would like to eat out, and For the breakfast, because of the people still run for the job, so they might take away for their breakfast. So if you run business for the breakfast, you don't have a lot of influence by the coronavirus, but you sell the dinner or lunch, probably you got huge influence from it, especially the banquet business as well, because the coronavirus spreads so widely. So government even ask people don't go for the parties. And the third fact 3, most of the restaurants are using these times for training their staff and chef. Some of them even closed down, and you can see from these speedy lines, yes, the food and beverage industry in Taiwan in this year is climbed double. Alright, that is sad, but after Mother's Day, the second Sundays of May, everyone comes back. I mean, the business is going up, and the food and beverage industries is getting better and better for their business running. Okay, we can see in the further and expecting. Well, you would like to study food and beverage industry in Taiwan, you couldn't skip the Taiwan street foods. After we got the hard studies from the branding, logo, and also the statistics within these 10 years. And then, should we just a little bit relax and sit back? And we are going to study about what is 卤肉饭, very important Taiwan street food. In Taiwan's developing histories, from the agricultures to the industrial and the business field, and thus lots of laborers would like to work very hard, so they need quite more energies to help the hard worker, no matter they are farmers or they are the workers of inside the factory. So 萝卜饭 will be very common street food for every Taiwanese people. So Taiwanese people always say, where there is a sweep of the smoke from kitchen chimney, where will be 卤肉饭. The pronounce 卤肉饭 is Mandarin, and 萝卜饭 is Taiwanese. The main ingredients would be the pork belly. You need to mice it, chop till it's very small, mice it, and you slow cook in the aromatic soy sauce with 5 spices, and then you will use a bowl with plain rice, hot should be, and pour over the frozen pork and with the sauce. Some of the restaurants, just like these pictures, were not restaurant. Some of the shop or bush, like these pictures, will put some cucumbers and also coriander on the top. By the way, this red sauce, if you see, that is the chili sauce, but especially in Taichung, we got that kind of the chili sauce, and it doesn't produced by other place. Okay, So while we talk about the purchasing, you need to think about the recipe first. Just like what I say, the ingredients is part of recipe. And the recipe always is for the good SOP. SOP means standard operation procedure. Why we need the SOPs in the kitchens? If you don't have SOP, then there is a lot of accident may happens, because today's if you are happy you put 3 spoons of sugar, and tomorrow you are angry you might be put 4 spoons of salt, and they don't have standards, and the customer would be complained. So I thought standardize for the recipe is very important. You need to standardize the portion, standardize the taste, and standardize the raw material and the amount, and especially you need to put the photos as right now, and then everything settled down. Then you need to present it inside the bowl or dishes, and what kind of bowl or dishes you will choose. That is also the standardized part. So every chef need to create or need to innovate their new dishes, and but the dishes should after they create the new products, then they need to have the standardized, and otherwise they could not change their assistants, or they could not change their porters to help them, especially the purchasing. They don't know how what kind of raw material should buy. Okay, so that is the good SOPs for the recipe. Then you will have the good purchasing department. So cookbook always automatic provide the what you do, first thing is what you need, that is ingredients. Then the second thing is what you do, so they will give you the methods and the step. In order you just jump the step or forget a step, and every staff could follow the step to cook the food. And the recipe or the cookbook will use the pictures, the photos, just like now, and you will know maybe what kind of size of the meat, the pork, and also they will have the ordinary 1, 2, 3, 4, which is much more easy to read. So SOP would be try to make your procedures simple and easier. If the procedure is very complicated, so you can use the SOP to identify all of the steps and make it in the standards. Hopefully all of the customer will satisfy what you did and what you do. So that is the standard operation procedure, which is very important concept for the purchasing as well. And we will discuss the standardized for the purchasing later on, and we will separate into different parts, such as the vegetable and the fruit, meat, seafood, and grain, and daily milk, something like that. Alright, that is for our following lessons. At the end of this introduction chapters, I would like to share the final concept with you, which is from farm to tables. Recently, lots of food and beverage industry owners or managers, they really think on these ideas of from farm to tables, which will give them good reputations uh, and also create safeties from their customers. So they try to show how fresh their products is, and the products could transparently shows the farm and where is their food comes from. Okay, shall we look at these four pictures on the page? The first one's on your left hand side top. That is the advertising from Mos Burgers. There's two different kinds of rice burgers on the top, quite delicious. And at the buttons, there is a little black balls you always put in front of uh, most burger stores, and also maybe on the top of the table or on the counters. And it's rice on three kind of different vegetables where they plant to and the farmer's name. For example, this one it shows tomatoes, lettuce, and Chinese lettuce. And right down on the Jiayi Xingang's areas for the tomatoes, and the farmer's name is Lin Mao Qing. And rest of it is the where the areas and farmer's name at the and so on. Alright, the other right hand side of the farmers is standing in front of the farm. I would like to mention the bottom the bottom ones. You will see there's the Mos Burgers logos standing in front of the farmer, in front of the farm and behind the farmers, which is the contract farms for the Mos Burgers. So all of the plant and the vegetables on this farm will directly delivery to Mos Burgers and used inside the Mos Burgers every product. So you will see it and knows how safety they Mos Burger provide to their customers. So totally this systems overall this systems we will call it transactable systems. Alright, it's not just Mos Burger, it's not just Taiwan's. Uh, Taiwan is quite late to using these systems, but in the betweens, I want to show you the films that is the New Zealand kiwis from their farm to the factories and delivered to whole of world while they're sending on the customer's hand, and this the customer still can see where the products from and which farm and or who is the farmer is. So shall we look at the films and see how it works? As you can see, there is a QR code on this page. I will give you a few seconds to scan it and ready to enjoy the films. As I mentioned from last page, that is the New Zealand kiwis from the farms to a factory and delivery to all of the world, and how they explain and present their products to every single customers while they receive their kiwi products, and how they select the grinding and extras. Right? At the same time, I will discuss with you together and for all of the film. Ready? Give you 5 seconds to scan it. Right? I hope you can enjoy this film first. Well, I believe you already finished this film. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, kiwi is everywhere. Kiwi is very nutritional fruit. As we know, New Zealand is the main export countries. More than 9 million cartons were delivered to whole of the world. Well, how can they do and what are they doing? Then using these single tiny small papers stick on the top of the box and people will know where this kiwi is from and who is the farmers. Right. Inside the stories, that is the kiwi farms named Cash story. He did a lot of job before, but kiwis makes his dream come true. He is very passionate about to plant kiwis and using the organic compost to uh, to build it up and to raise it. And he hoped everyone is his kiwis will get more healthier, right? Before he start to plant it, he also uh, build up a lake and using some technology to combine the temperatures and to raise up to help kiwis through whole of the winters and so on. He also go to the course to add more knowledge about how to plant the kiwis and gain some knowledge how to select and make the kiwi sweet and also healthier. Of course, after all of the kiwis grow up, they will be delivered to the factory, as you see on the pictures of this slideshow. That is the different track for different kind of kiwi. Maybe you cannot recognize which one is which, but the track, the machine is so smart could choose the grain. So that is size matters. Different size on the different tracks. And from the films, you are seeing that is the kiwi jumping out of the track from the first, second, and third. So that is how this factory grinding it. And if there's some steels root out of using, all of the kiwi will go to a bin and that will fit other animals or go back to the soils to make the compost and the recycling to plant up and help the kiwis others fruit grows up. And also in the environmental side, um, you will see New Zealand is quite brilliant. They even use the kiwis to make the kiwi box underneath plants, which could put the kiwis on the top and protects the kiwis. And also they make the spoons to make it kiwi easily. And it's no waste at all. Can you believe it? So how they protect the earth and how they are uh, so environmental ideaing. So that is the near the end of this story, and I will compare with you just from 2018, no 2019, just last year's Taiwanese government are going to have these transferable systems, and that is the QR codes on the top at the next page. So shall we look at it? Since 2019, Taiwanese government has very concerned about the TAP, traceable agriculture products. So that is the embers, which show you can just scan the QR code and see what is the item's name and what is the traceable numbers, and also how the certificate authorities to examine the products. And everything is open data. It will be on the open data website. Well, that is the end of this class, and shall we enjoy the film later on? See you for the next chapter.